All right, today we are diving into something that sounds like it came straight out of a sci-fi movie. We're talking about aerogel, a solid that's almost entirely made of air. Yeah, you heard that right.
So, to really wrap your head around this, just imagine something for a second. What if you could actually hold a cloud in your hand? I mean, something solid, but, ethereal and just impossibly light. Well, believe it or not, that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Okay, get this. The actual solid part of this stuff, that's only 1% of its structure. The other 99% is just air. It's air trapped inside this tiny microscopic framework, which is why it's one of the lightest solid materials on the planet.
And that brings us to the official name, aerogel. It's this super innovative material, and what really defines it are its crazy physical and chemical properties, especially that incredibly low density. So the big question is, how on earth did we even invent something like this?
Well, its origin story is just as wild as the material itself. It didn't start in some futuristic high-tech lab. Nope. It all began with a simple bet between a couple of scientists, and somehow it ended up on the final frontier in space exploration.
So let's go back in time to the 1930s. You've got this American scientist, Stephen Kissler, who's dead set on creating a material that's both super light and super strong. Okay, fast forward a few decades, and who comes knocking? NASA. They see the potential and start developing it to insulate their spacecraft from the crazy temperatures of space. And today, that exact same space-age tech is being used right here on Earth in everything from construction to aviation and even medicine.
So how in the world do you make something like this? Well, you start with a wet silica gel. Just picture something like Jell-O. Now here's the tricky part. You have to get all the liquid out without the whole thing collapsing in on itself, which is what usually happens when stuff dries. So scientists use this really special drying process. It involves high pressure and temperature to gently pull the liquid out. And what you're left with is that original solid structure, but it's now 99% empty space. And just like that, you've made solid air.
Okay, but being insanely light? That is just the beginning. Let's get into the really cool part. What makes this stuff so special? Let's talk about aerogel's incredible superpowers.
And trust me, the list is long. We're talking exceptional thermal insulation, perfect light dispersion, it's remarkably strong and rigid, it's water resistant, it's great for noise insulation, and it's non-flammable and non-toxic. Phew. So yeah, let's break down a couple of the biggest ones, shall we?
All right, first up, its amazing ability to insulate. The secret sauce is all in its structure. The pores inside aerogel are just minuscule. We're talking 20 nanometers. That's so small that it's almost impossible for heat to wiggle its way through. The air molecules get trapped in this tiny maze, and that basically stops heat transfer dead in its tracks.
And this right here shows you the difference perfectly. Take a look at the thermal image on the left. That's standard glazing. See all that red and orange? That's heat just pouring out. But now look at the right, the panels with aerogel. It's so much cooler. The insulation is just worlds better. You can see why it's a total game changer for things like energy-efficient skylights.
Okay, on to its next superpower, the way it handles light. Aerogel is translucent, right? So it lets light in. But here's the cool thing. Instead of just letting a harsh beam of light pass straight through, it scatters it all over the place. This creates this beautiful, soft, uniform glow that gets rid of nasty glare and dark shadows.
Yeah, this quote really nails it. The best way to think about it is like a piece of matte or frosted glass. You get all that wonderful natural light, but it's spread out, it's gentle, it just makes indoor spaces feel so much more comfortable and look a whole lot better.
And check this out, it's not just about improving the quality of the light. When you use aerogel in building panels, it can actually let more light into a room. We're talking up to 30% more light compared to standard panels. So you get more light, but with none of the glare. I mean, that's a total win-win.
And believe it or not, the list of perks just keeps on going. It's also hydrophobic, which is just a fancy way of saying it repels water, so no mold or fungus. It's super stable chemically, so it holds up against UV radiation, and even though it's pretty much all air, it is shockingly strong for how light it is, which makes it perfect for all sorts of structural uses.
All right, so we've geeked out on the science and its superpowers. Now let's bring it back down to Earth and see how this amazing material is actually being used today, how it's making that leap from NASA labs right into our own lives.
This really gives you a sense of just how versatile it is. For space exploration, that extreme thermal resistance is everything. For aviation, it's all about being lightweight but strong. But for construction, that's where that killer combo of thermal performance and amazing light dispersion
really makes it a game changer for things like skylights and building facades. And, this isn't just about aesthetics or making buildings look pretty. There's a real, tangible human benefit here. We have decades of research showing that when people are in spaces with that kind of uniform natural daylight, they are literally healthier, happier, and way more productive.
And just how much more productive are we talking? Well, the numbers are pretty staggering. In retail, for example, studies have found that better natural daylight can boost sales by, get this, up to 40%. And it's not just about shopping. Think about our schools. In classrooms with better lighting, students have been shown to learn faster, up to 26% faster. That is a huge impact, and it all comes down to just changing the quality of the light.
So, this all brings us to the big question, right? Why does this solid air stuff actually matter so much?
Well, because it's way more than just a cool science experiment now. Aerogel is a real-world solution that's already out there, making our buildings way more energy efficient, slashing heating and cooling bills. And at the exact same time, it's making us, the people inside, more productive and even healthier. It's one of those rare materials that solves a whole bunch of problems all at once.
So there you have it. A material that was once pure science fiction is now a part of our reality. It really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, if we can create solid air today, what kind of incredible challenges are we going to solve with the next generation of materials tomorrow?